Got details of these and many more if you stay with me for the next 20 minutes. My name is Josh Green. Remember, we're live on DSTV channel 279. Let's begin from northern Ghana because 6 persons have been killed at Sakpere in the Boku municipality of the Upper East region. The deceased were attacked during a gathering to celebrate Eid.
Safe, sound, and happy Salah.
That was one of the Eid al-Fitr gatherings in Boko. Elsewhere at Sakpare near Baribari, a suburb of Boku municipality, unknown gunmen had ambushed armed Eid celebrants. They opened fire on them, killing 6 in the process and fled. 4 of the victims died instantly, while the 2 others were pronounced dead on arrival at the Vineyard Hospital in Boko. This brought to 9 the number of persons killed in Ramadan week. And the residents are worried over the continuous killing of people on a daily basis in the midst of increased presence of security deployment.
Nobody is happy about what is happening in Boko, and I think that there is a need for government and other NGOs to come on board. Government should speak straight.
Others think it would be better for government to withdraw the security to save taxpayers' money if their presence would only be for sightseeing.
If you say or you claim that we have soldiers or policemen who are deployed in Boku and still the killing of people and the blocking of cars still happens in Boku, I don't see any impact of the soldiers being here or the policemen being here.
The presence of the security agencies in Boku is very important and we all appreciate it. But the most important thing is that we should be able to move freely. You want to move from Boku to Bolga and it's a problem. You want to move from Boku to Sankasi and it's a problem. Boku to Garu is a problem. These are the things that we think that the police and military has the capacity to be able to get these things all stopped.
Meanwhile, the Boku Municipal Police Command has cautioned against the use of motorbikes on certain roads within the municipality to help fish out criminals.
If in your community you don't feel safe with the motors, let us know. We will come there and ensure that people don't use it. But if you are okay in your communities with the motors, we are also okay with that. But for the main road, from Binduru Barrier to Zebulon side, no problem. From Binduru Barrier to town, don't ride on the road with motors so we can all be safe and happy.
Quite a sad one there. May their souls rest in perfect peace. Let's still stay on crime. The youth of Kosok traditional area in the Upper East region have denounced the continuous assault on passengers on the Tamale Boga Boko Pomago highways. The youth also made a plea to the National House of Chiefs to help resolve the chieftaincy conflict in Boko.
The criminal attack on commuters on the Tamale Boga Boko Pomakom highway is gradually taking another twist, with the criminals burning the vehicles they ambush together with their cargo. The most recent attacks happened in Walewale and another at Nasyong near Nangpanduri. A cargo truck loaded with timber headed to Garu was attacked and set ablaze. The second vehicle, also heading to Garu, was ambushed and set ablaze together with the cattle in it. The perpetrators filmed their action and shared same on social media. A third attempt on Thursday, April 20, was foiled by the youth of Nasoin, leading to the arrest of 3, but the rest escaped. The bandits were later handed over to the police. However, the suspects were reportedly released unconditionally by the police on Saturday, April 22, following calls from persons yet to be disclosed. And the youth from the 6 administrative districts that make up the Kusong traditional area residing in Accra are worried.
Our reasons for this press conference is to bring to the attention of the Ghanaian people the criminal acts in the Northeast region over the past weeks, planned to ambush and attack vehicles on the highways, and the security is looking on. We want to ask, is there anyone in charge of the security of the Ghanaian public, especially in the Northeast region? The conflict is in Boku, in the Upper East region, between Mampusis and Kusasis.
The Kusong youth were calling on the security agencies to ensure law and order, appeal to the National House of Chiefs to assist in resolving the conflict.
And now to one of our headline stories. The Ashanti Regional Police Command will later this morning be arraigning the key suspect in the ADUM murder. Inspector Ahmed Chumesi was arrested over the weekend as a key suspect in the murder of Victoria Dapa, popularly known as Majwa. Family of the deceased have called on the Inspector General of Police to ensure justice for the relative, even as they struggle to come to terms with her demise. And now our regional correspondent, William Evans Inkum, has been the one, following up on this very development, and he joins me this morning via Zoom. Good morning, Evans. Good to have you on New Day.
Good morning, George. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good morning. What do you know about the suspects day in court today? Tell us.
Well, so he's expected to make a first appearance in court to satisfy the criminal code procedure, because under that, a suspect is not supposed to spend more than 48 hours in court. And if for any reason the police will need him to be kept for further investigation, then the court will have that discretionary powers. But two things are likely to happen in court today. One, either the suspect will be granted bail or otherwise, because after the Supreme Court landmark ruling, all offenses are bailable. But in a typical case of what we have witnessed, or I have witnessed over the years, as far as the Asokwa District Court is concerned, I quite remember in July 2022, there was a case which also involved a chief inspector, and then he was accused of having something to do with the murder of a civilian, during a family row. But he was granted bail. I'm talking about Chief Inspector Emmanuel Adeipoku. Of course, there was commotion at the frontage of the court, but the police, were swift in averting any escalation. Then we also talk about the issue of Kaka. The suspects were denied bail on grounds that their security was very volatile if the court should grant them bail. So these are cases in point. If we are allowed to make some references. But I can tell you that, if you look at the fact that the youth in ADUM have been threatening of reprisals, there's likely to be heavy security at the court today.
Okay.
It is likely to be the Asokwa District Court, which have heard cases of such nature over the years, or the Magistrate Court for committal proceedings to start.
Okay, Evans, talking about fair hearing, do you know if he has a lawyer yet?
Well, that one hasn't been established yet, but certainly per the criminal code procedure and per what the Constitution also say as far as fundamental human rights are concerned, definitely he will have a defense. But of course, whichever way his fate goes will depend on the charges pressed against him. Of course, one charge that all of us cannot rule out will be the charge of murder. And then if there's going to be any extra charges on him, because definitely the judicial prosecutor will have to establish a prima facie. And then, of course, also would want to talk about the gun. The gun that was used, the alleged gun that was used to, pull that trigger, whether it was official or otherwise. All these will be mentioned in court today when he makes his first appearance.
Thank you so much, Evans, for that very update. And as you are aware, the key suspect in the ADUM murder case will be arraigned before court later today. And our regional correspondent will be following up and update us subsequently in our bulletins. And now the family of the slain ADUM lady, Victoria Dapa, popularly known as Majwa, has welcomed the arrest of Inspector Ahmed Chumesi. That's the key suspect. And Adjoanya, the mother of the deceased, says she expects justice for her late daughter. William Evans Inkum has come through with this very report.
Yesterday, the police made a very huge announcement that they've been able to arrest the suspect, Inspector Ahmed Chumesi. Today at the family house, as usual of the Akan tradition, the family is seated. They have some few days to the 1 week observation of Majua, which is very, very important event as they prepare for the final funeral rites of the slain lady.
I am relying on Dampare. He will speak the truth. He will ensure that the law is enforced. I know that he will not let us down.
I know him very well. I saw him when he came to look for my niece the other day. He used to come here often. He was always quiet and calm. So to learn of what he did is really shocking.
A very sad moment for the family, but in the midst of the sadness, they believe that justice will be served. William Evans Inkum, TV3 News, ADUM.
And away from the ADUM murder case, this morning, registered physician assistants who are yet to be posted are picketing at the Health Ministry. The group, which consists of graduates from as far back as 2018, are protesting a failure of the Health Ministry to provide financial clearance to them, even after an MOU was signed last year. According to the unposted graduates, life has been unbearable as they struggle to make ends meet, forcing them to converge at the Health Ministry to demand action. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the morning news here on New Day. It's the first bulletin of the day here on TV3. In morning news this morning, Individual Bondholders Association of Ghana has rescued itself from government's technical committee on the domestic debt exchange program. According to the committee, deliberations have not served the primary interests of its members, and the convener of the group and legal practitioner Martin Pegu says their decision not to sign up for the DDEP is being used to frustrate them.
We get some half explanations about Bank of Ghana having increased some, the treasury bill rate, and so it has mopped up liquidity and the rest. But we've not had any comprehensive explanation. We've not seen in the books how much revenue has government itself raised and the rest. So you see that once the basics, the fundamentals have not been settled, it's difficult to jump onto further negotiations. So we've not been explained, or it has not been explained to us what has really caused government its inability to pay for us to now go to the next step.
The battle lines have been drawn for the Kumewu March 23 by-election after the opposition National Democratic Congress, the Convention People's Party, elected their candidate for the polls. The governing New Patriotic Party, which has also elected its candidate, may find it tough retaining the seat following growing disaffection amongst the electorate ahead of the polls. William Evans Inkum has been assessing their chances.
Four political parties, including an independent candidate, have all confirmed their participation of May 23 by-election. The MPP has NSEAO Enim competing to retain the seat for the ruling party. We know the independent candidate has prepared well for this election, but we are not ready to lose the Kumewu seat. He will have to beat competition from Kwekudua, who garnered over 11,000 votes during the 2020 parliamentary election, against the late Philip Basua, who had a little over 14,000. Before you vote, make sure you look into your standard of living and vote wisely. Kwesi Amankwa, the NDC candidate, seeks to reclaim the seat after losing it in 1996.
All the good things in Kumewu, especially the water, have been provided by NDC. And there's no reason why Kumewu should be an MPP seat.
The Convention People's Party has Elder Ebenezer Boachi Adom, who will capitalize on inadequate development of the Kumewu constituency.
The ruling party, that is NPP, hasn't done much for the people of Kumewu. Let's say if you compare Kumewu to that of Fijase, Fijase is seeing massive development and then improvement, but Kumewu, we've seen none. We have strong relationship with the youth. and then most of the aged as well.
The Electoral Commission has set May 23 for the Kumawu by-election.
And now the political capture of the media has caused it to lose its status as the fourth estate of the realm to civil society. That's according to Lead Afrique Ghana's Executive Director, Michael Ohene-Effa. Speaking in Accra at a program to strengthen civil society, he observed that Ghana would have declined further in the last 5 years if civil society had not stepped in to fill the role the media has abandoned.
The media is referred to as the fourth estate or fourth power in both the explicit capacity of advocacy and the implicit potential to define political concerns. The executive, the judiciary and the legislature are the first three estates of the realm. They are regarded as major players in the nation's governance, with the media serving as an impartial check on the first three, particularly the executive.
The media for me has checked that primary responsibility of being the fourth estate of the realm. But some commentators are saying it is now a fifth column that is actually working against the interests of the people because of political capture of our media. So for me, civil society is the one playing that role of being the fourth estate of the realm. Without civic actors, without civic activism, we won't be here.
Star Ghana Foundation and the West Africa Civil Society Institute are currently implementing the Civil Society Strengthening Program with the objective of shifting power in development practice.
We shouldn't only work with CSOs that are based in Accra and that have the name. So currently we are working with a number of such CSOs. One is based in Akwatia. They are the scrap dealers, and they are saying that the way in which they buy their scrap and all those things is not fair, so they want to improve their capacity to be able to negotiate. So it is about ensuring that all voices matter and that we work together to make development effective.
This 8-year program aims to provide long-term support to civil society actors in Ghana in delivering the priorities of their constituent. It seeks to build institutional resilience of civil society organizations by providing a more aggressive, negotiated, participatory, and widely owned solution to social development work.
A critical part of this program is the local philanthropy part, that we are going to be looking within our communities to see what are the resources that we have and how can those resources be part of what it is that we are doing.
Prior to the launch, Star Ghana and partners held a series of consultations across the country on the validation of project frameworks and tools developed for the implementation. The program targets to reach over 90 CSOs in 3 categories.
Our civil society partners who are in the communities should be the ones leading those kinds of conversations. And I think we will have to go beyond just say conversations to how we are translating the ways of doing things differently in the partnerships that we have with the civil society actors.
You can share with us your views and comments on stories that have been aired so far on our social media platform, that's TV3 Ghana. And our work on a fertilizer manufacturing complex in the Western region to address the difficulties in accessing the commodity in the agricultural value chain on the continent has taken off. And the project, however, will require some $2 billion towards its completion. This was made known at an Accra public-private dialogue.
The Ghana National Fertilizer Company supports the National Fertilizer Subsidy Agenda and be consistent with the integrated Ghana Fertilizer Growth Program. It is also to address availability and affordability of fertilizer for farmers in Ghana and throughout the West African sub-region. Work is currently underway to create a fertilizer manufacturing complex in the Western region, tapping into the abundance of gas in the region. But the $2 billion required for the full implementation of the project is now a major hurdle.
Access to finance has also been a very big challenge to actors within the fertilizer supply chain. And so we would want to hear from the financial sector players who are involved in this and how they can contextualize their financing to suit the current situation that we find ourselves.
The Feed the Future sponsored Accra Dialogue is being jointly hosted by the Policy Link Activity and the African Fertilizer and Agribusiness Partnership, AFAP.
Is about developing a 10-year strategy for fertilizer development on the continent. And from our vantage point, the real work will be done at the national level. So bringing together this collection of private sector stakeholders, development partners, government stakeholders is going to be critical.
It is on the theme, the future of fertilizer and agro-imports in Ghana, and a part of a 3-day AFAP regional public-private dialogue.
It's not only that gas that we need to produce that one. So how do we combine the other resources of other African countries so that we will not look at $2 billion, it's so huge, and therefore it's difficult to even raise the capital we need before we set up some of these things. So this dialogue is so important, and we hope that at the end of the day we need solutions to our problem.
The dialogue is a component of the West African preparations for the African Soil Health Summit to be held in Dakar, Senegal in July this year.
And now to the foreign front. A growing list of countries have evacuated diplomats and citizens from Sudan's capital as fighting continues into a second week in Khartoum. A small British military team has landed in Sudan to assess potential evacuation options. The UK evacuated diplomats and their families yesterday, but an estimated 4,000 UK citizens remain in the country. Fighting between the Sudanese army and RSF paramilitary forces left 420 people dead since it began on April 15. Well, on that note, we end the morning news. Remember, you can get more news updates when you log on to our website, s3news.com. As I made you aware, the key suspect in the ADUM murder case will be arraigned before court this morning. William Evans Inco will bring us up to speed on that very development. Thanks for watching. Always a pleasure coming your way.